Hi everyone, my name is Nishtha. This is Women's Web and you're watching Career Ki Paathshaala, a brand new show where we will be talking about unconventional careers for women. The course that we're taking today is professional photography. Today I'm going to tell you how to pursue photography in India for women. Is there money in the field? What is the job security? And basically try to answer all your questions regarding photography. Before I start talking about photography, I would like to mention that this video is only about photography and not cinematography. Cinematography is an art of using camera in filmmaking, which is a completely different course और उस पे एक अलग वीडियो आएगा. So keep on watching. So before moving ahead, make sure कि वो जो नीचे लाल कलर का सब्सक्राइब का बटन है आप उसे दबा दीजिए and please press that bell icon so that you are notified whenever we post any amazing video out there. And without any further ado, let's move ahead. Photography is the art of taking pictures, and if you pursue it professionally, then it becomes a career option. Making a career in photography requires good skills with the camera. One thing that is very important about photography is to have a passion about the skill and to never lose touch with the camera. आप initial stage में phone से pictures click करना शुरू कर सकते हैं and then you can move into a DSLR camera. The key is to keep clicking pictures. And just like any other course, to become a professional photographer and have like proper projects, you need to have proper knowledge and there are certain set of courses for that. You can either do a diploma course, a degree course or a certificate course. अगर आप 12th के बाद फोटोग्राफी को एज अ करियर ऑप्शन चूज करना चाहते हैं तो आप प्रॉपर डिग्री कोर्स कर सकती हैं. दैट कैन रेंज अप टू 3 years of education depending on the course that you're taking. Here on the screen you can see a list of colleges that offer different degree courses in photography in India. आप डिप्लोमा कोर्स भी कर सकती हैं. दैट विल रेंज फ्रॉम 1 year to 2 years of education period. एंड ऑन द स्क्रीन यू कैन सी फेमस डिप्लोमा कोर्सेज जो इंडियन कॉलेजेस ऑफर करते हैं. और अगर आप वर्किंग प्रोफेशनल हैं और अपनी जॉब नहीं छोड़ना चाहती हैं, फिर भी बेसिक्स ऑफ फोटोग्राफी सीखना चाहती हैं, तो आप सर्टिफिकेट कोर्सेज कर सकती हैं जो कि ऑनलाइन और ऑफलाइन दोनों मीडियम्स पे अवेलेबल होते हैं. यू कैन सी सम फेमस ऑनलाइन पोर्टल्स जिसके लिंक हमारे डिस्क्रिप्शन बॉक्स में होंगे और आप जाके उनको चेक कर सकते हैं जो सर्टिफिकेट कोर्स ऑफर करते हैं फोटोग्राफी में. नाउ लेट्स टॉक अबाउट after you complete your education in photography, after you have gained your skills in photography, what are the career options that are present in photography? Just like any other course or any other field like engineering or medical, photography also has its own subtopics. Photography is a very vast field, and talking about the career options in photography, if you have the proper skills then you can have many avatars. So today I'm going to tell you about 5 prominent subfields that are there in the field of photography. The first one is photojournalism. Photojournalists वो photographers होते हैं जो न्यूज़पेपर्स और न्यूज़ मैगजीन्स को फोटोज प्रोवाइड कराते हैं. इट्स वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट टू हैव अ नोज फॉर न्यूज टू बिकम अ फोटो जर्नलिस्ट. हेंस अगर आप फोटो जर्नलिस्ट बनना चाहते हैं तो इट्स रिकमेंडेड टू डू अ कंबाइंड कोर्स of journalism and photography. The second one is magazine photography. Magazine photography can be coupled with photojournalism because news magazines भी होती हैं तो उनमें फोटो जर्नलिस्ट ही पिक्चर्स देते हैं. इसके साथ साथ इसमें फैशन फोटोग्राफी, वाइल्ड लाइफ फोटोग्राफी, स्ट्रीट फोटोग्राफी, ट्रैवल फोटोग्राफी, ये सब सारी चीजें आती हैं डिपेंडिंग ऑन द मैगजीन और द क्लाइंट दैट यू आर वर्किंग फॉर. One thing to note over here is कि fashion photography, street photography, travel photography and prominently wildlife photography, these are also their own sub fields और इनके भी अपने अपने clients होते हैं, अपने अपने purposes होते हैं and you can basically work in them and you can master in them accordingly and they can become a proper field for you. The third one is commercial photographers. Commercial photographers basically are photographers who take pictures of merchandise, exteriors and interiors of factories and machinery, both indoors and outdoors, which are used in company brochures and advertising and selling. The fourth category is wedding photographers. Wedding photographers take pictures of individuals or small groups handling subjects like pets, children, families, weddings, functions and activities of sports and social clubs. The fifth one is agency photographers. Agency photographers are connected with the photography department of an advertising agency or a photographic studio. ये sizable section में काम करते हैं and they are mostly freelancers. Advertising photography is possibly the best paid and the most competitive branch of all. Success in this field depends entirely on ability, efficiency and right personality. Freelancing has been the most popular career choice among photographers. Photographers who want to be self-employed and need to have a business management skills often opt for freelancing photography. They can do freelancing or in basically any of the above fields. They can freelance in wildlife photography, fashion photography, wedding photography, journalistic photography, or advertising photography. They can freelance in any of the fields. Freelance photographers or self-employed photographers may license the use of their photographs through stock photo agencies or contact with clients or agencies to provide photographs as necessary. So आपको जितनी भी स्टॉक वेबसाइट पे फोटोग्राफ्स दिखती हैं वो जनरली फ्रीलांस फोटोग्राफर्स की फोटोज होती हैं जो उन्होंने सेल करी होती हैं क्लाइंट्स को एंड स्टॉक इमेजेस की तरह उन्हें यूज किया जाता है. Now, after knowing about how to form a career in photography, let's talk about women in the field of photography. We definitely know that photography is something that has been a male dominated field for quite some time. But women in India also have set a mark in this field. From including women photographers in notable exhibitions to many women taking up photography as a career. Change is definitely coming. If you want to know about some notable women in the field of photography in India, then there's an amazing article on this on Women's Web. Link description box में है. वीडियो खत्म होने के बाद पढ़ लो यार. Moving on, आज हमारी सीरीज को ज्वाइन किया है प्रोफेशनल वेडिंग फोटोग्राफर मानवी गंडोत्रा ने एंड शी इज गोना शेयर अबाउट हर एक्सपीरियंस एंड हाउ शी बिकेम अ प्रोफेशनल फोटोग्राफर. सो लेट्स वॉच इट. Hi everyone. Today, joining us to talk a little more about photography and the career of photography, we have Manvi Gandotra with us. She's the founder of OnePlus Studio, which is one of the best wedding studios in Bangalore, wedding photography studios in Bangalore. And she is an electrical engineer who shifted because of her passion into photography. And for now, she has more than 5 years of experience in the field of photography. So, Manvi, thank you for joining us in this session to talk about unconventional careers for women on photography. So why don't you tell us why don't you tell us a little about how you started your career, because as you were an electrical engineer, right? So how did you shifted towards photography? What were the difficulties that you had to face, particularly in the matters of society? Because going from an established career to becoming a photographer, which is not considered that much of a sustainable career as such. So what was your experience?
So firstly, thank you for having me. I'm very glad to be here and talking about photography, which I love. So, but coming to answer your question, I think it was just something that just happened to me. Honestly, I loved photography, and like you said, like I did my engineering and I was working for an MNC, and one colleague of mine saw me shoot. I had a marketing job, so I would travel a lot, and hence I would shoot on my whenever we had off time or in the evening, if we'd head out to a nice city walk or something like that. And then I was just traveling with my colleague who happened to see me shoot, and it was his wedding in about 6 months from that day. And he told me that why don't you shoot my wedding? And I said, I don't think I can shoot a wedding, because that's not something I've ever shot. I mean, I shoot portraits and I shoot like street photography and landscape photography and things like that. And I've never really shot a wedding. And he says, no, you know what? I really think you have a different perspective to things. And, you're great at photography and you'll do a good job at my wedding. And I was not very sure that this is something that I could do. But I think there was no scope of conversation. He's just said, you're shooting my wedding. And I was like, okay. And next thing I was shooting his wedding, right? So and while I was doing my job. So I really didn't quit and start photography that way. But, when I shot his wedding, I was just so thrilled, because I felt like A, doing photography, B, such a happy place. Weddings are so much fun. And also the fact that they really value what you do. I think as a wedding photographer, whatever you're doing is really valued, and the value just keeps increasing over time, I felt this really nice, I had a nice feeling about this, and I said that I want to try this before I even quit my job, because I felt like this is something that I would like to do. But I had no idea whether it could be a switch altogether, whether it can be a sustainable career for me. I had absolutely no idea. So what I started doing was, of course, the family loved the pictures, and referrals started coming. People started reaching out saying that, would you like to shoot my wedding and things like that. So I did take up a few weddings over weekends while I was actually doing my full-time job, and hence started the journey of 1+1 Studio, wherein um, post 6 months into doing weekend wedding photography, I realized that this is something that I really want to do full time. And I told myself I'll give myself a year. I had 7 years of work experience, and I said that I could take a year off, do what I really want to do, and see if I don't succeed or if it's not a thing for me, I'd go back to my full time job. But I never revisited that.
So, what is one thing that you would like to say to women out there who have a passion for photography but are doing a 9 to 5 job? So, how can they basically approach photography from that sense, the field of photography from that sense?
So I would say that even field of photography is huge. There are so many things you could do in photography. So I think for starters, I think you need to know what you wish to do. Whether it's food photography, fashion photography. See, with different kind of photographies, there's a different learning curve, right? Of course, if you want to do food photography, you can just start at home, right? You can start trying and start doing. And if you really want to do something like a wildlife photography, then you have to be somewhere else shooting that, right? So I think it's also important to know what kind of photography you wish to do. And once you know that, and then you start looking for mentors, start looking out for people, understanding how they did what they did, or how you can learn from their experiences, because it's a very different field, and hence you need to understand what does it take. So mentors would be great, following people's work would be great, and then of course trying your hand at it, right? Like, I mean, you need to also do that. So while you're on a full-time job, I would say identify a few people, talk to them, do it over weekend if you can, start picking up the camera more often, and then take a call whether is this something you want to do like full time.
So yeah, coming back to being the unconventional career that photography is there any obstacle or hindrance from the sides of society that you had to face because you started photography, which is not considered as much of a career option for women? So was there any kind of difficulty that you had to face in your time when you just started establishing your career?
Yeah, so I think definitely wedding photography is looked down as a man's job. It's a given that people in, like, there's just a bias, right? Like, you just suddenly think of a wedding photographer, you think of a guy, right?
Yeah.
So and it's because there are long hours in wedding photography, it's at various locations, and kind of like society or people don't really think women can really do it, right?
Yeah.
So I think in the beginning, when I was talking to parents or of the couples and couples and all, they would be like, I could sense a skepticism, like they're thinking, can she do it, right?
Yeah.
Like, will she be able to do this, right?
Yeah.
And I think that was a tough part, because you definitely don't want a doubt in your client's mind, right? They should definitely be thinking that this is my right choice and this is the person I want for my wedding. So in the beginning, I felt like sometimes, not everybody, I think a lot of my clients have been amazing and in fact thrilled. But sometimes there's been this doubt that will she be able to do it, or can I do it, right? So but I think now, after shooting like over 15 states and 5 countries, I think there's no doubt. And I think that, like, people don't. I've also had a client whose mother called me and she said, we're hiring you because you're a girl.
That is so
because
cool.
it just gives me such a joy that my daughter's wedding is being covered by women photographers. So there have been cases like that, and some amazing people whom I've met in my career who've just like really been very proud of the fact that women are doing this. And
how can, like, a person who is basically starting their career in photography, how can they build up a good portfolio that their client basically build up their trust that this person can do it? So how can a woman basically build up that good looking portfolio?
I think you need to really understand the field.
Yeah.
Understand really well in terms of the, say you're doing food photography, you're doing fashion photography, you're doing these days, of course, there's an ever increasing popularity of pictures, and the demand of images everywhere, right, from Instagram to social media to brand pictures to like everywhere, right? So I think that the idea is to um, give what client really wants, and to understand that, and for you to understand that, you have to really look out for what's happening outside. What are other photographers doing? What is the competition like? What are the images like? And then of course it's very, very vital to bring in like something unique, something that is your style, and is not something, I mean, you need to distinguish yourself from others, right? So I would say that it's very important to understand the field, understand what exists, and then bring something unique to the table. That's something that I would tell anybody who's planning to take this career up. That's one. Two, I would say that believe in yourself. However cliche that sounds, I think that sometimes people, society kind of take time to catch up, and to believe in you. So till then, you need to believe in yourself. So I think people will believe you, but I think you also need to have that in you, and work towards it. And of course, create incredible images, and that's how it would work, I'm guessing.
So now if we see at it, there are lots of colleges and courses that have opened up and are basically taking up admissions for photography. And like there are diploma courses, there are online courses, there are proper full-fledged university courses that are bachelor's and graduation in photography. So if as liking asking as a young woman, if I'm a young woman and I want to pursue a career in photography, what should be my approach? The basic, the basic to do's that every field has. Like if you want to be an engineer, these are the things that you need to do. So what is the
Right.
basic to do's for photography?
I feel like photography is not really reached a stage where there are steps, so to say. I
Yeah.
feel like we're still a little far away from there. It's not one of those conventional careers where you have a path and you just like follow it and you're sorted, right?
Yeah.
So I think I don't think I have that formula to give, but I feel like if you are a person who wants to take this up professionally, or you want to do take up photography full time, I would say that understanding the basics, and I think if I were to say, photography is not just about photography. Unlike other careers, I mean, it's a lot about business, it's a lot about finding your clients, it's a lot about lead generation, it's a
Yeah.
lot about how to handle the competition that's out there in market, right? Because it's just comes like a full package. You need to be kind of good at all of it together. So while I would say join a school, learn photography, or learn from a mentor, find a mentor who can help you find the greats in your field, and see if you can pick that up. And once you feel you're good enough and you want to do photography full time, shoot. Shoot a lot. I think
Yeah.
shoot on your own, shoot with mentors, shoot with other people in the industry. Build a portfolio. It's very, very crucial, because nobody is going to give you a job or a money or anything if you don't have a portfolio, right? So you need to build a portfolio that obviously, like I said, brings something unique on the table, right? Like
Yeah.
make it spectacular. And once you have that, you have to pick up business skills, you have to pick up skills to kind of like sell your photography out there.
Yeah. So, coming back to the unconventional part, women are often told that if you want to, like, as you said, wedding photography is considered as a field which is very male dominated. Same if you go and talk about wildlife photography or even travel photography, all these fields are considered to be very male dominated because घूमना पड़ेगा, कहाँ जाओगे, क्या करोगे, रात तक
Correct.
रहना पड़ेगा. So all of these
Right.
questions that women get to hear all the time. And
All
one of
the
the yeah one of the major questions that who will marry you when you get married, how will you handle your kids, like who will like a wife who goes out and takes pictures of people. So what is one thing that you would like to say to people on that mindset?
So we all went to school, right? Like boys and girls, everybody went to school. We all went to college. We all did our undergrad. We whether it's engineering or whether it's medical, like in all the fields we were together, right? What really changes when you marry? Nothing, right? Like, I mean, how does this question even arise in my mind? I mean, like, it shouldn't be a question
Yeah.
ideally, right? But I do know where you come from, because it's true, it exists in the society where people do come and question you these things, right? And I feel that at that point, I feel like we're no different. Like, if a male can go shoot a wedding at different odd hours, I think even a female can. And I'm right here. I mean, I've done it, and I'm guessing like people can do it. And I don't see it as something that one has to sacrifice to have a family or to have a happy married life. Family is all about adjusting, being there for each other, right? And this question shouldn't arise, I feel.
Has there been any instances where, like, not a client but anyone has passed a very sexist comment to you while you were like in one of your photography ventures, and you were like, what is this? How can you even think like this? Something like
Yeah, it's
that.
happened. Yeah, of course, it's happened. Like this one time, one person just comes to me and says, "So I thought you had a well-paying job," and I was like, "Yeah, I mean, hello." People don't look at it as, like, I mean, okay, I did engineering from an NIT, and I was in an MNC as a marketing program manager for 7 years. I've worked in sales and tech and marketing and all of that, and I feel that post that, this can't be looked down upon. It's something that I'm really looking in my life, to do, and for me to have built a company where I have employees. And I feel that you don't understand. That's why you're asking such a question, right? So that's one. And I think the other time where the father of a bride comes to me and says, "Oh, there's another event that we need to cover. You don't come, send a boy from your team." And I was like, "No, what do you mean? Why should a boy do this? Like, it's just sexist, right?" So I think that's happened, and that happens all the time. And they kind of treat you like a delicate darling, which is not the case. I think women are, if anything, they're more equipped now than ever, and they're
Yeah.
equals.
So, like, after spending more than 5 years in the field of photography, how much do you think is photography an unconventional career in the 21st century compared to the time when you started your journey in the field?
So I think the photography has undergone like an huge change, right? And there are now umpteen career options within photography, that didn't exist like 5 to 10 years back, right? So there
Yeah.
is like definitely a steady business proposition, for those who have a knack for it or who really want to pursue it. I think it's great, and I think we're capturing everything, right? Like I said, like, so right from food to fashion to wildlife to birthday parties to weddings to everything, right? Like, I mean, everything is being covered, and photography is playing such an important role. But if you were to ask me if it's a very conventional career option, I don't think so. I think that we're still a little far away from there, right? And I think in my mind, when I think of a conventional career path, I think of it to be a fairly known, fairly uniform, a well-defined path that you take, whether it's medical or engineering, or where that this is the employment scenario, this is how it will work. But I think when it comes to photography, I think we're still in a very in a state. Of course, like I said, we've come very far, and but I still feel that we have a long way to go.
Yeah.
Not everyone can just enter and find work in this field right
Yeah.
now. There's just so much that you need to know, need to learn, need to excel at, to kind of find your way out there, right? So I feel like the demand is there, definitely there, more so than ever. But I think it's still not conventional career option, because like I said, lead generation, business, expectations of the clients, and there's just so much to learn and do in this career, that I think we're still a little far away, but I think we've definitely come along.
We often see that young women who basically graduate from some photography college, or who have done some diploma courses, they find it tough to find a job.
Right.
because there are not a lot of job opportunities available in the, like, all out there in the market as such. And often at times they also find it hard to basically get even freelance, or to get a mentor to guide them properly on how to, how to do the sales, how to do the marketing, and how to basically establish yourself in photography. Because as you
Sure.
said, just having a camera and taking pictures is not enough. You need to
That's
know
true.
ample amount of things. So
Right.
what is one tip that you would like to give out to their all young women out there who are still, struggling to find how to start after having the skills?
I think if I were to just like, I think I would probably be repeating a little bit of it. When you're starting off, you kind of tell people that, I'm a photographer, I can do everything, right? Like, I mean, whether it's events or whether it's food or whether it's whatever, right? So I feel like understanding what you really want to do, right? So choose a field, very important. Choose a field. You over the course of doing that, if you like to like get into another form or another type of photography, that's fine, that's fair. But I think to start with, pick something, pick a field, right? Whatever you pick, rapidly iterate, work on it, build a portfolio, take photographs, do it every day, try and build like an amazing portfolio. Go to meetups. There are a lot of photography walks, photography meetups. There are a lot of people who kind of meet at different occasion and time to whether it's photo walks or whether it's just generally chat ups or whatever it is, right? So do that, go there. Reach out to the industry people, right? Reach out to the leaders, reach out to the people you follow, reach out to the people you like, and see, go for a chai session, meet them, and ask them how they figured it out, how you can benefit from there, right? Because like I said, because it's not a conventional career, there is no one path. You have to find your path, right? So you go, and once you figure out that what is working for you and is something that you can take up, then you just pursue that as a full-time career, right? Or if you already have a job, quit it only once you figured all these out. Because I think that just being a photographer can be very overwhelming. You need to
Yeah.
figure out the business and the work and the employment side of it.
One last question. What have been the women in your life who have inspired you to, because having your own business, being a photographer, is not something, it's not something that is considered very okay, easy to task hai, ho jayega. It's not like that. It requires an ample amount of courage and strength to leave your job, leave your well established job and follow your passion, and to build up a business in that. It requires a lot of backup and support. So who have been the women in your life who have inspired you time to time to, whenever you feel low or whenever you feel leaving out, you just stand up back again because of the inspiration? So who have been the women?
I think I've been extremely blessed. And I think that I've had some amazing women in my life, right from my mom, who's a businesswoman and who's always taught me the right things, to my mother-in-law, who's raised two amazing kids. And, I always feel like she's been a perfect example of how to manage family. And, to my very close friends, one of whom is a cancer researcher in AIMS. And, when I look at how passionate she is, it's just and it's just very, I think the women around you also kind of push you, right? Like, I mean,
Yeah.
seeing them all excel at what they do. To another friend of mine who's a doctor but left it for music, right? And she's pursuing music, and I feel that it's just amazing. I mean, these people have inspired me in so many ways that I can't even list. And I feel because of that, and because I'm surrounded by such women, I have been able to take a career path which is not conventional, and have had support of all of them. And I feel like, not be sexist, I think so many men have inspired
Yeah.
me too. My father, my husband, my father-in-law, so many of my friends. And I feel that it's both men and women in my life who've inspired me and have pushed me to do this. And I think that yeah, I think it's just, I've just been blessed.
Thank you, Manvi, for joining us in this conversation. और अगर आपको कभी भी लगे कि सोसाइटी इज पुलिंग यू डाउन एंड सेइंग कि नहीं ये लड़कों की जॉब है, ये टफ जॉब है, तुम ये नहीं कर सकती हो, देन जस्ट टेल देम दैट कैमरास आर नॉट जेंडर बाइज्ड। मानवी से कनेक्ट करने की सारी लिंक्स डिस्क्रिप्शन बॉक्स में है। शी विल बी मोर देन हैप्पी टू हेल्प यू आउट एंड गाइड यू इन द फील्ड ऑफ फोटोग्राफी। सो डू मेक श्योर दैट यू कनेक्ट with her and check her profile out. And thank you for watching this episode. If you liked the episode, do hit the like button, comment your queries related to photography or what are the courses you want information on. या फिर अगर आपने कोई सोसाइटी की बंदिशों को तोड़कर कोई अनकन्वेंशनल कोर्स परस्यू किया है तो अपना एक्सपीरियंस के बारे में हमें बताएं और हम उस पर अपनी वीडियो बनाएंगे। और इस वीडियो